All right, welcome. This is Fractions Appendix Lesson A-3, Division of Fractions. Part 1, divide whole numbers by fractions. Go ahead and underline whole numbers and underline fractions. So we're going to find out how many times the fraction fits into the whole number. Then it says, explain how many times the divisor fits into the dividend. Go ahead and underline. We'll do 3 problems in part 1, starting with letter A. First problem is 5 divided by 1/3. So to make this easier, go ahead and divide that whole number by 1 so that both numbers that you're working with are fractions. Touching the operation, we see that it's division, and the rule is to rewrite using keep, change, flip. So keep, change, and flip. So we'll keep the 5 wholes, 5 over 1, change division into multiplication, and then flip 1/3 into 3 wholes, or 3 over 1. Now when you touch the operation, you'll see that it's multiplication, which is easier than division. So let's see if we can simplify anything. 5 and 1 will not simplify, neither will 3 and 1, but we can check diagonals. 3 and 1 will not simplify. Other diagonal, the 5 and 1 also will not simplify. So let's go ahead and multiply. 5 times 3 equals 15. 1 times 1 equals 1. Touch that equal sign first before you bring it down. And what is 15 divided by 1? That is 15. Box your answer. Now we need to explain how many times the divisor fits into the dividend. So draw another underline under times. How many times does the divisor fit into the dividend? Underline. So looking at our solution, we know that 1/3 fits into 5 15 times. Let's write down the sentence. 1/3 fits into 5 15 times. Next one, go to letter C. The problem is 8 divided by 2/3. We need to figure out how many times 2/3 fits into 8. So once again, go ahead and divide that whole number by 1 to make the problem easier to work with. When you touch the operation, you'll see once again we have division. So we're going to rewrite using keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Let's keep 8 wholes, or 8 over 1. Change division into multiplication. And flip 2/3 into 3/2. And again, we've turned it from a division problem into a multiplication problem. Touch the operation. The rule for multiplying is to simplify first. So let's see if we can simplify anything. The 8 and 1 will not simplify. 3 and 2 also will not simplify. So let's check diagonals. The 1 and 3 will not simplify. But if you look at the other diagonal, you'll see the 2 and the 8 will simplify because we can divide both of them by 2. Get ready to cross. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now that we've simplified as much as we can, let's go ahead and multiply. 4 times 3 equals 12. 1 times 1 equals 1. Touch that equal sign before bringing it down. And finally, 12 divided by 1 equals 12. Box your answer. But what does this 12 mean? So we need to explain how many times the divisor fits into the dividend. We know that 2/3 does fit into 8. How many times? It fits 12 times. Let's write it down. 2/3 fits into 8 12 times. Last one in part 1, letter D. 8 divided by 3/4. How many times does 3/4 fit into 8? So go ahead and divide that whole number by 1 to make it easier to work with. When you touch the operation, you'll see it's division, and we know that the rule is to rewrite it using keep, change, flip. We're going to keep 8 wholes, or 8/1, change division into multiplication, and flip 3/4 into 4/3. Here we go. So we're going to keep 8 wholes, or 8/1, change division into multiplication, and when you do that, you also have to flip the 3/4 into 4/3. Now when you touch the operation, you'll see that it's multiplication, which is easier than division. So the rule is to simplify first. 8 and 1 will not simplify. The 4 and 3 will not simplify. Let's check diagonals. 1 and 4 will not simplify. Other diagonal, the 8 and 3 will not simplify. So there's nothing to simplify, so let's go ahead and multiply. 8 times 4 equals 32. And 1 times 3 equals 3. So far we have 32/3 as our solution. But let's go ahead and convert that to a mixed number. Touch that equal sign first and bring it down. 32 divided by 3 is a no, so let's count backwards. 31 divided by 3, still no, but 30 does work. 30 divided by 3 is 10. What's left over? We have 2/3 left over. So box your answer, 10 and 2/3. 3/4 does fit into 8. How many times does it fit? It fits 10 and 2/3 times. Let's write it down. 3/4 fits into 8, 10 and 2/3 times. Next, part 2. It says to divide fractions by whole numbers. Underline fractions, underline whole numbers. So these are different from the types of problems in part 1. In part 1, we needed to see how many times the fraction fits into the whole number. Here, we need to see how many times the whole number fits into the fraction. Go ahead and draw an arrow. So we'll do 2 problems together, letter G and H, starting with letter G. We have 8 divided by 2/3. So we need to see how many times 8 fits into 2/3. Divide that whole number by 1 to make it easier to work with. The operation is division, so we're going to use keep, change, flip to rewrite it. So we'll keep 2/3, change division into multiplication, and flip 8/1 into 1/8. And now the operation is multiplication, which is easier than division. Let's see if we can simplify first. 2 and 3 will not simplify, and neither will 1 and 8. Let's check diagonals. The 3 and 1 will not simplify, but if you look at the other diagonal, the 2 and the 8 will, by dividing by 2. Get ready to cross. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And now we can multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 4 is 12. So our final answer is 1/12. 8 fits into 2/3, and it only fits 1/12 times. Letter H. We have 3/4 divided by 8. Divide that whole number by 1 to make it easier to work with. And when you touch the operation, it is division. So let's rewrite using keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. So we'll keep 3/4. Change division into multiplication. And flip the 8 wholes into 1/8. And now we have a multiplication problem, which is easier than division. So let's simplify first. 3 and 4 will not simplify. 1 and 8 will not simplify. Let's check diagonals. 1 and 4 will not simplify. And then 3 and 8 also will not simplify. The best you can do is divide by 1, which gives you the same thing. So there's nothing to simplify. Let's go ahead and multiply. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 8 is 32. Box your final answer of 3 30-seconds. So 8 fits into 3/4, 3 30-seconds times. Last section, part 3. It says divide mixed numbers by fractions. Underline mixed numbers. Underline fractions. And we need to see how many times the fraction will fit into the mixed numbers. Then it says explain how many times the divisor fits into the dividend. Underline our keyword of times and fits. We'll do 2 problems together, box K and box L, starting with letter K. 4 and 1/4 divided by 1/4. So this is a more difficult problem because we have mixed numbers. So let's go ahead and convert this to an improper fraction right away before we even get started. So on the next line, write down equals. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 more gives you 17. 17 what? 17/4. Touch the division symbol, bring it down. Touch 1/4, bring it down. And now we started with a very difficult problem that involved mixed numbers, and we changed it into a much easier problem which involves improper fractions and regular fractions. So now we can go ahead and solve this much more easily because there are no mixed numbers involved. So touch that operation. It's division, so we're going to rewrite it using keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Keep 17/4. Change division into multiplication. And flip 1/4 into 4 wholes, 4 over 1. And now when you touch the operation, it is multiplication, which is easier than division. So the rule is to simplify first. 7 and 4 will not simplify, and neither will 4 and 1. But we can check diagonals. 4 and 4 does simplify by dividing by 4. Get ready to cross. Divide by 4, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. The other diagonal, 17 and 1. Since there's a 1 already there, we know that 17 and 1 will not simplify. So let's go ahead and multiply. 17 times 1 is 17. 1 times 1 is 1. Touch that equal sign, bring it down. And we know that 17 divided by 1 is just 17. So here we see that 1/4 fits into 17/4 17 times. And we can also say that 1/4 fits into 4 1/4 17 times as well. Let's use that as our sentence. So write down 1/4 fits into 4 1/4 17 times. Last one, we have letter L. 5 1/3 divided by 2/3. So again, we have a mixed number, which makes things very, very difficult. Let's change it to an improper fraction instead. So write down equals. 5 times 3 is 15. Touch one more, gives you 16. 16 what? 16/3. Touch that division symbol before you bring it down. Touch the 2/3 and then bring it down. And you notice we started with a very difficult division problem with mixed numbers, and we changed it to a much easier problem with improper fractions. So now we can go ahead and solve it. Always, always, always touch that operation first, and we say that it's division. So we're going to rewrite it using keep, change, flip. I'll do it in blue so it's easier to see. Keep, change, flip. So let's keep 16/3. Change division into multiplication. And flip 2/3 into 3/2. And now when you touch the operation, you'll see that it's division, or actually multiplication, which is easier than division. So let's see if we can simplify first before we multiply. 16 and 3 will not simplify, and neither will 3 and 2, but we can check diagonals. The 3 and 3 will simplify by dividing by 3. Get ready to cross. Divide by 3, divide by 3. And that gives you 1 and 1. The other diagonal, we have 16 and 2. We can simplify that by dividing by 2. Get ready to cross. I'll do it in green. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And now we can multiply. So 8 times 1 equals 8. 1 times 1 equals 1. And we know that 8 divided by 1 is just 8. Box your answer. So we know that 2/3 fits into 16/3 8 times. And we can also say that 2/3 fits into 5 1/3 8 times. So let's use this one in our sentence. We'll write down 2/3 fits into 5 1/3 8 times. So we have completed our example problems. You have 5 more problems to go. Letter B in part 1, letters E and F in part 2, and letters I and J in part 3.